Ever since I started my work in politics, I have heard stories and rumors of something sinister happening in South Africa. I was regularly sent images and videos claiming there was a white genocide going on right now. As a journalist, I have learned to never take anything at face value, to second guess and question it all. But I also believe that there is never smoke without fire.
It is precisely because there's never smoke without fire that whenever I hear a report of an alien abduction anal probe, I never ask whether it happened or not. I just focus in on whether you asked for a second helping or whether there was consent at all in the matter.
This is what makes South Africa so intriguing, because depending on your outlook, it is either a paragon of multiculturalism and social justice, or a powder keg with a genocide against the white population ready to erupt into an all-out race war.
Now, Lauren, baby, are these the only two multiple choice answers that we have access to when it comes to this matter? It's either it's a fucking paradise of social justice, or there's like a brewing genocide against white people. Now, there seems to be, maybe it's just a flawed country, like many other countries are flawed developing countries with issues. Is this a possibility at all?
I tried to put the pieces together, but there were just too many missing. With the left wing and establishment media calling the farm murders a non-issue and praising the Rainbow Nation, and the far right predicting a civil war, I thought surely the truth must lie somewhere in the middle. To understand South Africa today, we have to understand South Africa then, 366 years ago to be precise, when the wheels of history were set in motion. It all begins in 1652. It was during this time that several tribes, the Mfangu and the Ngwane among them, were forced to flee south, putting them on a direct course for the trekking Boer. This was unfortunate for the Boer, who had been making deals with smaller tribes in the area, trading favors, livestock, and weaponry for land. These deals between the Boer and the Bantu occurred frequently throughout South Africa's history. It wasn't long, though, until fair and mostly peaceful exchanges of land between whites and blacks gave way to violent, militaristic ones.
I came here for one reason and one reason only. It's fair, transparent haggling. Let's haggle, my dudes. Let's do a little bit of old commerce. Let's haggle, my dudes. I got fucking goats. I got fucking sheeps. And I got some shells. My dudes, I got some shells. Oh, okay, well, shells is more of like a North American thing. Well, anyway, my dudes, how about a little microloan? You fucking can't refuse.
While the Boer advance across the country was mostly peaceful, the Bantu tribes fought ceaselessly, killing white, black, and Khoisan people wherever they found them.
My homies, my ninjas. I have to make a confession at this point. I'm not gonna review the rest of this stupid fucking video. I fucking refuse to do it, and I will explain my reasons in this pointless, prolonged tangent that is gonna alienate me from some new subscribers who are then gonna click the magical button and continue with their lives. You see, in the last couple of days, for some fucking reason, maybe because I haven't been making any videos, I've gained a lot of subscribers. And now it's like every tiny step, my dude, in the direction of relevance, even if it's tiny and microscopical, I have to fucking throw in a fucking monkey wrench, throw in one of these fucking tangents that there is no meaning to it. There's no meaning to this tangent. And even as I'm introducing this tangent, my dude, I'm already wasting your time. This is the fucking three-dimensional chess of fucking subscriber alienation. Check this out. So as you all know, I could give a shit about any of these people. I would never watch any of their videos on my own without kind of the opportunity of constructive criticism for my channel. But just because I watch these videos for work doesn't make the experience any less painful. You see, first I have to screen record this video, and then I have to upload it into my video editor, and then, you know, cut it up and off we go. But here a dilemma presents itself, man. And the dilemma is this: as I'm screen recording this video, I have to watch it in its entirety. You know, I have to watch it once, and then I have to watch it another time when I'm editing it. Now, these are two fucking views of the same dumb fucking brain cell killing video. So how do I avoid that shit? Especially for this special project of Lauren Southern, her kind of getting wet for the race war called the Douchelands. I'm sorry, it's the Farmlands. You know, like, this fucking video went on for over an hour. For an hour and 12 minutes. Dude, do you expect me to watch that shit twice? First during screen capture and then during video editing. And this is when I remember this motherfucking laptop. This piece of shit laptop, it looks nice and new, but it couldn't function as a video editing one, and I had to get rid of it. Well, I just had to fucking put it in retirement. And meantime, I got a fucking expensive fucking laptop that could handle the processes. But now I remembered it, and a simple thought occurred to me. I was like, I'm gonna fucking screen record it on this laptop, and then I don't fucking have to watch it twice. I don't have to watch it twice. I can just watch it once when I fucking video edit it. So I looked at these scenes that you saw right now, and I said, let's go, baby, let's get to it. So I, you know, put it on, and of course this fucking laptop freezes the first time. But fuck it, I'm gonna go at it again. I'm gonna capture Lauren Southern, and then I'm gonna offer my constructive criticism. So the next thing, you know, the next time it was going kind of smooth. And so I was like, well, I don't want to put it in my room, this disgusting fucking bag of herpes.
White squatter camps.
I have to get it out of my room. So I put it in my mother's office. Many of you may know I live in my mother's house. Dude, the office is right here. So I put it in there. You know, little did I know my mother comes in to do some work. And she's like, what is this shit? She's like, what is this shit? This is fucking horrifying. This fucking horrible documentary. And I was like, well, she's just too sensitive. She's not ready for the, you know, for the fucking farm killings, you know, whereas I am. And she was really kind of disgusted with the whole thing, you know. And then I fucking got my screen recording, and I fucking started video editing it, my dude. That's when I, you know, and deductive reasoning should lead you to an understanding that this is when I saw it for the first time.
Another one that stays with me is in Johannesburg, just outside Johannesburg. We had a farm murder where 5 people came in. It was arranged by their domestic worker, and they drowned the 12-year-old boy in boiling hot water. So we had to remove the skin from the bath as it was peeling off him in the hot water. That was a terrible scene. If you look at the worst movies ever made, it's not really a patch against what is really going on there. It's unbelievable.
So you see, my dude, if I was actually watching it as it was screen recording, I would have seen this stuff, and I would have kind of axed it at that point. But once I kind of went through with my clever maneuver, I was so happy with my second laptop, I thought, man, I'm getting like some fucking pro tips right here, inventing my own pro tips. I was like, this is how that fat fuck, fucking hamster face, fucking Sargon of Akkad. This is how he climbed to success, by having a second laptop where he screen recorded Anita Sarkeesian while slow stroking to 2 of her videos simultaneously. I realized his success, and I thought I could do fucking the same. With Lauren Southern maybe, but it didn't work out. I uploaded into my video editor, and I fucking saw like a video filled with fucking gore porn, with just these horrible crime stories that Lauren Southern kind of dumped in front of us. I thought this kind of a ditzy broad is gonna go to South Africa, walk around and fight fucking Daisy Dukes, and talk about the fall of the white race, which would have been entertaining. And I mean, she definitely did some of it.
This single white enclave.
But this kind of, this stuff seriously, like, threw a kind of, really sabotaged my capacity for constructive criticism, because this shit goes on for an hour, and it's either I'm going to completely edit it out from my criticism, and on the other hand, I have nothing really to say to kind of horrible crime stories, to horrible stories of suffering. And so I was like fiddling with the shit, deleting little parts of it, putting parts in. And I've entered the Ivan zone, and I needed to leave. I just entered this fog of race war and Lauren Southern and her fucking booty, fucking pants. It was just my own kind of dread about life. It's just horrible crimes and racial tension, and I just had to fucking leave. And I said, fuck this. I'm just gonna summarize for my treasured audience. I'm going to summarize for them what's going on with white people in South Africa. We don't need Lauren Southern and her depressing, horrible stories, where I would be very callous to make fun of, which I wouldn't. But it's just, it's just sort of like, man, it was a big fucking downer, this whole fucking South Africa. Fuck you, Lauren Southern. Fuck you for disappointing me. So I'm just going to summarize you what's going on, and whether you need to giddy up for the genocide, or I think we should just ship some ramen noodles to these white people, because nobody ever said no to a noodle during a genocide. All you need is a little bit of hot water, or even you can fucking chew on that shit. It's fine. You can chew on it and it's fine. Sprinkle a little bit of that chicken fucking flavor. So there are two reasons why the alt-right is ringing the alarm bells when it comes to white South Africans. And I'm going to examine both of them here, hopefully briefly. Reason number one is the killing of farmers. And reason number two also has to do with farms. It's about the potential taking the farmland from the whites and redistributing it to poor blacks. So these are the two kind of, and together, with a conspiratorial tone, the idea is that these killings are part of a campaign to drive whites from South Africa or to commit white genocide. So that's kind of the idea. Between the farms and this, white South Africans are in trouble.
Does this amount to genocide? Not yet, but according to organizations like Genocide Watch, and taking into account everything I have seen and heard on the ground, South Africa is stepping closer to that reality every single day.
The story of the killings is very simple, extremely simple, man. You couldn't find anything simpler than this one. And basically the idea is this. South Africa has extremely high crime rates, extremely high. And it affects both white and black people. So that's what's going on. And focusing on the farmers, and there's a lot of violence and horrible crimes happening directed at them that has been repeatedly condemned by the government, by the way. But it in no way exists in any kind of an isolation of white suffering in a country where crime affects basically everyone. I mean, crime in South Africa is at a horrible rate. It's at a horrible rate. Check out these stats I have gathered, and by gathered, of course, I just found them on Wikipedia, as you can expect. So this is rape. I'll just focus on rape. So this is this is like pretty depressing. More than 25% of South African men questioned in a survey published by the Medical Research Council in 2009 admitted to rape. Of those, nearly half said they had raped more than one person. And yeah, 1 in 3 women out of a sample of 4,000 questioned by the Community of Information, Empowerment, and Transparency said they have been raped in the past year. So yeah, I mean, you see these, and you can imagine the murder rate. I mean, the murder rate was so high in certain years that more people were killed in a murder, in a homicide, than actually died in a car crash. I mean, the murder rates there, the kind of crime rates are horrible. And of course, they're going to affect the farmers. So how are the farmers different from other kind of upper class South Africans? Well, upper class South Africans, many of them, they live in basically like these fortified zones. They basically live in these forts, in these gated communities, but they're nothing like gated communities here in America. I mean, these are like just guarded compounds with private roads leading to them. So yeah, I mean, whereas the farms, of course, are out there, you know, in an open space. I mean, you would need to have some sort of insane amounts of money to put a fence around the whole farm. And so they're more vulnerable. And there are kind of rumors or conspiracy theories that the government is suppressing statistics on farm killings of white farmers. But there are also these allegations for crime in general. And there's also a basic common sense belief that they don't suppress the murders because you can count them up anyway. It's not like the rapes, which seem to be beyond counting. I mean, South Africa is seems to be like an incel paradise. And here's the thing I have to say. It's like these like crime rates in South Africa, I mean, they're fucking tremendous. And it's almost like it would be more favorable if this was like an organized campaign targeting just white people. You know, but no, I mean, it's almost like there would be a sinister calculating aspect to it. But no, it's just kind of horrible robberies that are in rapes that are brutal. I mean, it is kind of a little bit of a Mad Max going on there in South Africa. I mean, these are not white genocide. This is just mass killing through crime. Why does South Africa have such huge crime rates? Way higher than a country in Africa of a similar size like Kenya. I mean, I think that it has to do with actually Jordan Peterson brought it up and others, but this is supported by research. When you have a huge amount of contrast, it's more detrimental in causing crime than poverty alone. That is to say, every country has very rich people and poor people, but when there's also like a middle class, an upper middle class, when there's just, you know, when you're living in a complete total understanding of your own kind of life being kind of deprived and kind of pointless in a way because you don't have access to these opportunities, in certain men it just creates rage. It creates rage. It did that in Russia, and it continues to do it in Russia today. Russia has higher than European norms for violent crime, and way higher. So some of it has to do with, you know, people being fond of the drink. A lot of that is just different alcoholics killing each other, and that doesn't really affect the outside population. But some of it is because of these contrasts in society. You know, they emphasize your low class, they emphasize the futility of your life, and especially if you have like a nice kind of a farm out of the first world next to you. I mean, these are the kinds of things that unfortunately happen. And somewhere in Kenya, for example, where the contrasts, I guess, are not as bright, the murder rate is way lower. So yeah, I mean, these really crime rates are stupendous in South Africa. I mean, they're insane. It's like one of the most violent countries on earth. And yeah, so the number of farmers that are killed every year, I think the numbers I saw are around like 70 to 80. And this is out of a population of 4.5 million white South Africans. So, yeah, I mean, the discrepancy there is pretty big, and doesn't, you know, you don't get a sense of white genocide whatsoever. However, every person who dies, you know, obviously it's a tragedy. The fact that their farms are a legacy of apartheid privileges for whites in no way sanctions their killing whatsoever, and nobody in the government in South Africa does sanction it, and they have been condemned fucking repeatedly. And so these white families, the survivors, the victims of robberies, they have a right to complain about the government, complain about the inadequate response, but it's just fucking, it's Lauren Southern who doesn't fit into this picture, basically pimping their gore and the horror and their suffering in order to advance her own kind of goofy white genocide narrative that these farmers who might not like, don't like the government and maybe have some racialist theories, they nevertheless, probably many of them don't support the like full-on fucking alt-right narrative that Lauren Southern ends up pushing in this stupid movie. All right, my dudes, did we clear that one up? Let's move on to, should we take away the farms from these white people? Should we? Well, we're not gonna do it, man, but should they be taken away?
Well, our people are at war in farms now.
White people and persons like Breitenbach are land thieves, and they have no stake to this society, and the black majority understands that, and we will respond accordingly.
I think black people have been patient enough for more than 400 years of colonialism, and we don't want you to feel pity for us. We are coming for you, and we are going to get everything that you own. It's ours.
My dudes, do you care about fucking farms in South Africa? Those farms being snatched underneath their white owners? Neither do I, motherfucker. But this is something Lauren Southern cares about, and it's part of this alt-right narrative about the oppression of white people. So let's talk about it, dude. Let's talk about it. Now, under apartheid, whites composed like 8 to 10% of the overall population, but all the infrastructure, everything in the country, the laws, everything was directed at them primarily. And at other kind of racial categories they created in descending order. But primarily it was all about white people. And these farms are a remnant of this, and so they were controversial for a long time. And whereas the government and society, of course, doesn't support killing of white farmers, nevertheless they do support increasingly taking away of this land. And I don't know if they're going to take all of it or some of it, but the latest proposals have discussed were about uncompensated taking of this land. So what do I think about it? Well, my dude, here's what I think about it, man. Overall, I am against taking away of private property. Fucking didn't work out in Zimbabwe. Didn't work out in Mother Russia either. You know, didn't work out well anywhere it was tried. I mean, there were massive famines in China as well in the Soviet Union. Well, now famines are not going to face South Africa here. If those farms are going to be taken away, you know, and so you could say, well, these farms are the inheritance of apartheid, which they are. And so, you know, you take some of these farms and things are going to be better, and you're going to have some of that fertile soil in the hands of the native population. And you see, I don't profoundly object to it. I don't object to it. I mean, especially if they didn't take 100% of it. Took some farmland, whatever, man. It's fucking their country. I do believe in property rights, even if property didn't come from a righteous place, but whatever. I think that there are other repercussions to taking it. But, you know, if they took it and things would get better in South Africa, that'd be fucking awesome, and it would have been worth it. The thing is, I'm not sure that it's going to really change shit for the better. And the reason is today, like, to be competitive on the world market, you really need to have these sophisticated fucking industrial machinery. and it's no longer as labor intensive as it used to be. Now, I don't know how it is in South Africa, but I assume that the competitive large farms, the competitive farms are large and industrialized. And so if you take a farm like that and you divide it into little fucking plots and give it to people who have no experience with farming or little experience with farming, so what's going to happen in that case? I mean, are they going to like supply the fucking organic food to hipsters in Brooklyn and, and Whole Foods and whatever? I mean, I highly doubt it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's basically these white farms are understandably an insult to the dignity of the majority of, black people in South Africa. But the kind of restoration of dignity that theoretically could occur if those farms were expropriated, I don't think it's going to do shit for the economy. Probably is going to do things worse. I mean, it would almost make sense for the government to make some sort of a deal with a huge agricultural, fucking conglomerate to come into the places with fertile land there and develop shit, and then like give the profits to the people or something. I mean, I think that this whole idea of small farmers is just going to go to the toilet. I mean, how many real small farmers are there anywhere left? There are hardly any left, man. It's just all became a huge fucking industry. So I think that this is kind of gonna go to shit. But it's understandable. I mean, imagine, it's hard to imagine like any kind of white farms in China or in any other former colonial possession, former colony. I mean, it's amazing that they exist at all. It's amazing that they exist at all. And so that's fucking it, man. This is me on the farms, and I told you about the rapes. You don't trust the rape statistics? Motherfucker, I don't know, fucking research it yourself, man. Go over there and see how many times you get banged in the ass. I don't know, it is kind of disturbing. I mean, their level of crime there, I mean, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe focus on the crime first and then get to the white farms. Not that I give a shit about these white farms. It's just like the precedent of taking away property is kind of alarming to me. Call me bourgeois, call me fucking a neoliberal cuck, call me whatever you want, but just remember, I don't give a shit about any of it. I just kind of got disturbed by these gory crime fucking reporting from, from fucking Lauren Southern, and I just kind of got a downer for this whole video. My dudes, I have nothing else to say. Nothing else to say. Thank you for watching.
I've been told about a remote town with virtually no crime.
And videos claiming there was a white genocide going on right now. As a journalist, there's a white genocide going on right now. As a journalist,